Good day, Sir Joe. And so we are the pair of Antonio and Cabarrubias here to present our final project, which is LGU vaccination. So, as flashed in the screen, we have 7 tables, mainly a table for the vaccinator, for the patient, for the patient location, for the vaccination, for the dosages, for the vaccine, and for the site location.
So the relationships of the table is first the patient to vaccinator, which is a many to one relationship. Then from patient to patient location is a many to one relationship as well. And the patient to vaccination is a one to many relationship as well. And then we have the vaccination to site location, which is a one to many relationship. Then from the dosages to vaccination is a many to many relationship, as well as with the dosages and the vaccine relationship is also a many to many relationship. So the relationship of them from patient to vaccinator is the vaccinator ID to vaccinator ID. Then from patient to patient location is the address to location ID. Then from patient to vaccination is the patient ID to patient. Then the vaccination to site location is the site ID and the site ID as well. Then the vaccination to the dosages is the vaccination ID and vaccination ID. And the dosages to vaccine is the vaccine ID to vaccine ID.
Wait, pre, balik pa, balik. So for the database normalization or the different normal form. So for the first normal form, we were able to satisfy the different conditions, which are the having a unique key. All the tables has a unique key, and all the tables as well has each field. They have one contained value, and lastly, we have no repeating groups. So for the second normal form, any non-key field should be dependent on the entire primary key. We were also able to satisfy those condition as mentioned on the diagram. And lastly, for the third normal form, no non-key fields are dependent on another non-key field. Again, we were able to satisfy uh, the database normalization conditions. Next, please. So now we are going to execute the different codes for our table. So for the first code, it will show all the household who has more than one vaccinated member. We will now show there it is seen on the query result that again it will show all the household who has more than one vaccinated member. And for number 2, again, it will show the patients who already completed the vaccine cycle as seen on the query result. And then for number 3, it will show the patients who has pending vaccines or who lacks the second dose. And second to the last for number 4, it will show the patients and the vaccinator. To add, they are also dependent on the vaccinators. And lastly, for number 5, it will show the total number of patients who got vaccinated already.
Okay, so the sixth feature of this program is the number of dosages of shots left from the vaccine. Then the seventh is the number of vaccinated patients in a day. So basically what it will show is the number of patients that were vaccinated within a day. So the eighth is the patient's vaccination date. Then the ninth is the will show which vaccine did the patients take. Then the tenth one is basically the general info of the patients. Right, so next one is the insert. So right here we're gonna insert um, from the patient location first, and the values that will be included will not include the location ID since it is auto incremented. So let's go ahead and insert it. First, let's insert then uh, Let's see if this value has been inserted. So it is in that the value was inserted. The next is the insert patient. Okay. Mm, let's execute this. Then let's see if this value was inserted as well. Okay, so it was inserted. Next.
Now moving on, we will update a last name of the patient. So from Jacob, we will now change his or her last name into Snoop Dogg. There, we inserted the Snoop Dogg. Then it is now changed into Snoop Dogg, the last name from Jacob. Then for the next code, delete contact number. So we deleted from the patient. So we made it the last name Yape. So there, and as seen on the query table there. So going back to the relationship diagram, we will all the tables has the same specifications on compared to the other two, which will be discussed by Christian.
Okay. So all tables have default specification except the patient and patient location. Since from here from patient, the patient ID is has a identity specification, and it was set to an identity seed of 113 and an increment of 1. And then from the patient location, um, it was also identity specified and has an identity seed of 11 and increment of 1. Uh,
Okay, so to sum up our project, we were able to show the database diagram, the table design and specification, and lastly, we were able to show the queries and the result set of our table. So thank you, sir. That concludes our presentation.